Learn the difference between using a normal object method and a getter property. In this example, we want to see the difference between uh, using a normal object method and a getter property. Normally, in a function, when you want to make a function call, you usually call the function name with an open and close bracket. But a getter, on the other hand, behaves like a property. It doesn't need the open and close bracket for it to be called. So let's go ahead and look at an example, each for function and the getter version. So I have some commented out uh, steps here, one for version, function version, and the other for getter version. So we'll be making these two examples, and then we are going to be looking at the difference between each of them. But before I go ahead, I'm going to need two of these in order to be able to display the result. So I will just go ahead and add another one. And this time I can call this one demo one. Yeah, to still work. So the first thing I want to do here is I need to create object version. So I'll go ahead and make a object version. So for object person instead, sorry, it's not version, object person. So that's going to be const person equals to the object name, and then we can now add properties inside this object. So properties like first name, last name, age, and then also we want to put a method inside it. And inside the method, we want to use these keywords to return first name and last name. So now we have that object person, and it says add full name as a function, which is what we just did inside the person object. Now, step 3 says call it using person dot full name, which we have not done here in any way. And step 4 says return combined name. So let's move ahead and look at how we can call the person dot full name method. So I'll go ahead and make document dot get element by ID demo dot inner HTML equals to, this is how we call it, person dot full name. So you call it like a function, and then you should see John Doe on the screen. So you can see that in a typical function, in a traditional sense, whenever it is time for you to call your function, you always add this opening and close brackets. Now, if I take it out, you will see it will return the code instead. But this bracket is what is making the function call to get us the correct output. Now, let's look at the getter version. So for the getter version, we are not using this like a function call. Instead, we use it like a property. So the first step here as well is just to create a person object. So we'll make another one and say const person one. Let me use person one so that it will not conflict with the first one I have. It will give an error. So let me change this to person one. And inside it, so I'm just going to add what we already have as well inside it. This time around, I'm going to just add first name, still John, last name, Joe, And inside it, I will add a method as well, full name, function, return this dot first name, space, plus this dot last name. Now we have our object just like in the first example. Now, it is now time to, instead of we add full name as a function, get full name, which is the method that we, already have inside this example. Now, what we have done so far is that we create a person object, as you can see on my screen, and it has some properties which are peculiar to that particular object that we have created. Now, we need a get full name method inside our property, and that is because of the fact that when you are working with objects in JavaScript, it is always very important to know when or when not to, add or to remove from the properties of your object. In this instances now, we are adding properties in order for us to be able to access them inside what you can see in my example. So now let's look at the getter version. So for the getter version, I have this code here, but I don't need, I need all these properties that I've added to it. But there's one more thing I'm going to add here. Look at this, add get full name. So which means I need to add a get keyword to this thing that we have here, full name, and I'm going to have to remove that part. Can you see it now? Add get full name, get full name. So more or less like you are calling a function directly, and then you make it to return the first name and last name. And now that I have done this, I can go ahead and display it as well. Document dot get element by ID, and I will use the other demo in order to make it display underneath it dot inner HTML equals to person dot full name, and this should work. And that is because it is person 1 and not person 2. You can see person 2. So now you can see that now this is also giving me the correct display, which means that here I'm calling a function, but here I'm using a getter method as a property. You can see that opening and closing bracket is no longer after it. So this is the difference between these two methods, function method and the getter method. So this example displays person's full name. This example shows us the difference between these two methods in JavaScript. And you can see that we first created an object, and after we created the object, then we added a method to it, and that method is what we were trying to access from outside in the first example and in the second example as well. So this makes it easy in order for us to have a flexible function call or method call in our code, as you can see from this example.